Spasiba, Yuri. Happy Mother's Day. Of course, the sermon today is going to be on the theme of motherhood. And I'd like to begin, first of all, by reading from Isaiah 66, verse 13, for the context of this brief message. Isaiah 66, verse 13. This is the last chapter of Isaiah, and it's the culmination of everything that was written from the beginning. You know, God's complaints about the people of God and what they were doing, and then the messages of judgment, of hope, and blessing, and to the exiles when they would receive this message, this really hit home to their hearts about their God, our God. Here's what we read. As one whom his mother comforts, so I will comfort you, and you shall be comforted in Jerusalem. The context for Israel when they heard this, because they were separated from the center of their worship, their life, which is Jerusalem, and in exile they were comforted that they're going to be brought home, brought back into relationship with their God. And I started off with this as a springboard because as mothers, there's a connection there and a pattern to follow because God is presented here like a mother. I'm going to be like a mother to you. And as mothers, you can draw from this understanding that if you are in this position of, what's the book written about being a mother? I mean, you can go to Indigo and get dozens and dozens of books out there about motherhood, but I encourage you to learn who God is and apply that life, that likeness in your own relationship as a mother within the family context and family life. So I want to lay out for you three things to take home and to apply it to your own life. Because when we look at the value of motherhood, which is the title of this message, when we look at it through the lens of Scripture, which we just did, we see that it is a window into the very character of God. Your position, your duty, your responsibility is being a mother. Now, guys, don't sit back and think, wow, that's all just for women, all for those who are mother. In this, you will see this does apply to you as well. So the first thing we want to look at is the value of motherhood is sacrifice. The Bible's picture of a mother, especially in Proverbs 31, which if you have read it, and if you have not, encourage you to read it and to read it often, because it is a description there in Proverbs 31 of womanhood and motherhood. And I just want to highlight verse 15 out of Proverbs 31 with these words about sacrifice. It's not sentimental, but it's costly. We read, she rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household. There's work involved. There's sacrifice involved. There's time management involved. There's thinking involved about the day to provide. Now, this isn't simply about hard work, but it's about self-giving love, sacrificial love. And you guys, men, speaking about myself, your family life too is that altar of sacrifice for you as well. It isn't just for the mother, but it's for you as well. I guess when Father's Day comes, we'll have more to say about that. So it's self-giving love, and here is where Christianity offers a very unique insight. All true love, at its core, is Christ-likeness. It's a substitution. To love, and what I mean by this, to love is to give yourself for the good of others, putting others first. You still look after yourself. You still care for your health and your mental health and your emotional health, and you pray and you engage the work and your position as a mother with God's help to keep yourself healthy so that you can look after others. So to love is to give yourself for the good of another. And this is why Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 can say, Galatians 6:9 can say, let us not grow weary in doing good. Being a mother, in the family dynamics, it's tough. It's putting yourself ahead of others, ahead of yourself for the good of others. Denying yourself. It's sacrificial love. And we are encouraged to continue to keep doing good. Make that sacrifice. Keep doing it, because such giving is never wasted before God. In His economy, in His work, it's not wasted. He doesn't view it as a waste. But He views it, this daily sacrifice, that you are working in my likeness. And so often things are unseen, what you do. And sometimes they're even unappreciated. But we are encouraged as mothers to participate in His pattern of love and relationship with others. It's sacrificial. The second point here, it's a sacrificial life, and also the value of motherhood is that it expresses an enduring love, a persistent love. And motherhood shows us what enduring love looks like. And it's described and can be applied in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, often we read this portion in weddings and as a template and a pattern of how we should be responding to husband and wife. In Paul's mind, it was, when he wrote it, it was in between 12 and 14, it was more of a rebuke when he wrote it, that this isn't the way you have to be treating each other. You have to be living in a more excellent way in love. And here's what we read in chapter 13, beginning at verse 4. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant or proud. Does not act unbecomingly in verse 5. Does not seek its own. Is not provoked. Does not take into account a wrong suffered. And verse 6 and 7, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. Verse 7, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And then this first part of verse 8, love never fails. Now, when you read this, think about your children growing up, your relationship with your husband, your relationship with others, your relationship with yourself and the Lord. It's challenging. It isn't easy. This is true. But love never fails. So you have to have this enduring love and grow in this enduring love. And the mother's love often mirrors this kind of description that we just read. Not because mothers are naturally perfect, but because they are drawn into a kind of love that requires to last, to endure. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what happens with the children and the young adults as they grow into adulthood. Love doesn't fail. And this points to the gospel in a very special way. Romans 5:8 tells us that and reveals that kind of pattern in this kind of enduring love. Romans chapter 5, verse 8, it says that while we were yet still sinners, Christ died for us. Things aren't going to work out in the home sometimes. Children aren't going to be following the pattern that you prayed over and expected, and when they were born, you had all these hopes and dreams, and sometimes they just don't work out. They go sideways. And you want to give up on them sometimes. And you just don't know what to do. But with these words, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. It's revealing something about the Lord, and it reveals something to us. God's love is not a response to our unworthiness, meaning that if the kids don't follow the rules or are challenged in their faith or doing something wrong, we want to lash out or do something to bring them back in line. But when we do it God's way, we understand that when they do step out of line, just as we step out of line, we were sinners and Christ died for us. Our response is not by what we see happening, but it's by the source of God's love in our heart. We respond by who we truly and really are, because we are in the love of God, and the love of the Father is in us. And that's our source of response when things are going sideways and things not working out, and we don't like what we see happening with our family. And what I do, to put it in clearer terms, motherhood at its best is loving not based on performance, but it's based out of commitment. I'm committed to this family. I'm committed to serving this family. I want that same commitment, Lord, that you had on the cross when people are saying, get down off the cross. You know, he could have, but he didn't want to, because he was thinking of you and me. And he stayed on that cross and died the sinner's death for you and me out of love for you and out of respect for the holiness of God. He shed his blood, first for God and then for you. It's not based on performance in the family. And enduring love is lived out in this pattern. While we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. The third thing I want to share with you is, and final thing is the shaping power, influence, which is the shaping power of being a mother. Proverbs 22, verse 6 speaks of shaping a child's direction. Train up a child in the way that they should go. And when we see in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5, we see this kind of faith and this kind of love, this kind of relationship transmitted through generations, from grandmother to mother to child. And this reminds us that the human beings are not simply in the family, don't grow because they are more informed or they follow traditions, but they are formed not by those things, but they're really formed by the relationships that begin in the house, in the home. And the mother is key to this. The home, and especially the influence of a mother, becomes one of the primary foundations where identity, where the values in life are established, where even faith takes root. It begins in the home, and mothers, you play a very important role in establishing that. And yet, this should leave us both humble and also relieved. It humbles us because it's an important and weighty responsibility. It isn't easy. This calling to raise up these children, which the Bible describes as a gift from the Lord. How are they going to influence society? Eve, when she gave birth to Cain, was hoping that he would be this deliverer, but he turned out to be a murderer. It's a heavy responsibility, yes. But it also relieves us to know in this way that the change that we desire and praying for and want to see with our children and in our family life does not rest on you alone. God is the one who ultimately changes the hearts. Motherhood is not about perfection. It's about grace. In Lamentations 3:22-23, we know this. Lamentations 3:22-23, his mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Every day is a day of mercy. Especially when you have young children. You realize that the Bible reveals an ongoing need. There's always a need every day. An ongoing weakness. It's tough to raise families. It's tough to be a mother. And an ongoing dependence. And the good news of the gospel in all of this is not that we get it right. Oh, I have to do this. I have to make sure that everything is in order so that everything will be right. It's not about that. But it's about God's grace. God's grace meets us when we don't get it right. It's a partnership. For mothers, this means that failure is never final. There is always the possibility of renewal, of beginning again. And for the conclusion of this word, I want you to consider these thoughts. When we honor motherhood, when we honor our mothers, we are recognizing the gospel that mothers live out. That's being expressed every day. And you children, look to your mother and honor them because there's something being lived out. No, not something. Someone being lived out in their life within the family. And it's directed to you in honor of God. It's sacrifice, where we see the likeness of Christ's love. It's endurance of that love, where we see the persistence of grace, not based on performance, but it's based on a relationship. And then we see this influence being expressed. We see how lives are shaped over time through this relationship. And this is God's way. And this is why we read in Exodus 20:12 of the Ten Commandments, honor your father and honor your mother. There's a role that they're playing. And it's not merely a rule, but it's an invitation that we have to recognize and to respond to one of God's primary means of shaping human lives. It's the family and it's the mother. This role is so special. And only the mothers are called to do it. So being a mother matters, and there's value to it. Don't despair. Don't lose heart. Keep trusting. Keep praying. Keep your relationship with the Lord fresh and learn of him. Sit at his feet and learn of him. He's humble and lowly in heart. You're not alone. And this is how we will catch a glimpse of how God loves. We'll catch a glimpse of how he forms and how he sustains his people within the family through you as a mother to your children and to bring that influence to the greater society. And this is something of immense and lasting value. So mothers, display his likeness as a mother for his glory. This is where the true value lies, the glory of God. God bless you. Have a happy Mother's Day, but just not today. For the rest of the year. And you young people, children, fathers within the family unit, participate in that. Honor your mother every day with your prayers, with your obedience, with your discussions for the glory of God. Amen.